I opened the front door, and there she stood in the driveway, my wife, Emily, wearing those tight jeans she hadn't worn in months, and a tentative smile that didn't belong in our fractured marriage. But that wasn't what twisted my gut into knots. Behind her, leaning against a modest sedan, stood a man I'd never seen before. Tall, conventionally handsome, but with kind eyes that seemed to see through the facade I'd spent years perfecting. Beside him were two young boys, just old enough to understand the tension hanging in the air. And just behind them, my son Noah, gripping the car door with white knuckles. Something dark stirred inside me, the same darkness I'd become so skilled at hiding beneath my provider persona. Emily didn't wait for me to speak. She brushed her honey blonde hair behind her ear, a nervous habit I'd once found endearing, and said, "Mark, this is Jason. We've been seeing a family counselor together. The boys, too." She paused, her voice steady but cautious. "I think it's time we stop pretending." I smiled, not my warm smile, the one I'd practiced in the mirror to appear normal, approachable, safe. No, this was the smile that made Emily flinch when no one else was watching. "Pretending what, exactly?" My voice was velvet-wrapped steel. She stepped past me, her shoulder brushing mine as she entered our house. Jason followed with the kids, nodding respectfully in my direction. Noah hung back, his eyes darting between us like he was calculating the safest path through a minefield. "You and I," Emily said, setting her purse on the kitchen counter, not tossing it, placing it deliberately like she'd rehearsed this moment. "We've been broken for a long time. You're just," she chose her words carefully, unwilling to admit it. Noah slipped in beside me, keeping the island between us, a barrier he'd learned to maintain. "Dad," he said, his voice smaller than his 12 years, "can I go to my room?" Before I could answer, Emily spoke, her eyes never leaving mine. "Actually, Noah, I'd like you to stay. This concerns you, too." I felt it then, the familiar pressure building behind my eyes, the tightening in my jaw that Emily had learned meant danger. "Listen to your mother, son," I said with calculated calm. "Since when do we keep secrets in this family?" The irony wasn't lost on any of us. Jason cleared his throat. "Mark, I know this is difficult, but Emily and I thought it would be better if we talked openly, for the kids' sake." "The kids," I repeated, my gaze sliding to his two boys who were standing awkwardly by the door. "And what stake do they have in my marriage?" "They're going to be part of Noah's life," Emily said. "Jason and I have been seeing each other for a while now." 3 months, I corrected her, watching her eyes widen slightly. "Tuesday nights and Sunday afternoons. Sometimes Wednesday mornings when you told me you were at Pilates." I smiled again as understanding dawned on her face. "What? You think I didn't know?" "I've always known, Emily. I just decided when you were allowed to leave." The room went silent. Jason stepped forward, instinctively putting himself between Emily and me. "Mark," Emily's voice trembled slightly, "this is exactly why I needed to get away. The controlling, the monitoring, the protection," I finished for her. "I protected this family while you were out freaking discount Ken here." Jason's jaw tightened. "Hey, there are kids present. Let's keep it respectful." I laughed, the sound like breaking glass. "Respectful? You're standing in my house with my wife, lecturing me about respect?" I moved toward him with deliberate slowness. "Tell me, Jason, did she mention the incident last Christmas? Or the one before that? Did she tell you why we had to replace the dining room table?" Emily's face drained of color. "Stop it." "No, I'm curious," I continued, circling Jason like a predator. "Did she tell you about her little problem with pills? Or how many times I had to clean up her messes? Did she tell you about the night Noah had to call 911 because Mommy wouldn't wake up?" "That's enough," Emily snapped, her eyes darting to Noah, who was staring at the floor, shoulders hunched. Jason stood his ground. "I know enough, Mark. I know you've isolated her from friends and family. I know about the accidents. I know you track her phone, monitor her spending, and check her messages." I stopped circling, my smile never faltering. "And yet here you are, walking into the lion's den. Brave man." Noah suddenly spoke up, his voice stronger than I'd heard in months. "Mom, can we just go?" He looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes that cut deeper than any knife, not fear, but resignation. "Please?" Emily moved to him, putting an arm around his shoulders. "Yes, baby, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to stay with Jason for a while." "Like heck you are," I said, my voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Noah stays here." "Actually," Emily pulled a folded document from her purse. I have a temporary restraining order and emergency custody approval. Noah comes with me. I snatched the paper from her hand, scanning it with disbelief that quickly morphed into rage. You went behind my back? To a judge? After what happened last month, yes, Emily said, finding her courage. The school counselor helped me document everything. Your outbursts, the discipline, the isolation, it's all there. I crumpled the paper in my fist. This is nothing, a temporary nuisance. You think some piece of paper will keep what's mine from me? Jason stepped forward again. Mark, this doesn't have to get ugly. We can arrange visitation once things cool down. Let's all take a breath. In one fluid motion, I grabbed Jason by the throat and slammed him against the wall, my forearm pressing against his windpipe. Let me make something perfectly clear, I hissed into his face. You don't tell me how to handle my family. You don't tell me when I can see my son, and you definitely don't tell me to breathe. Jason's boys screamed. Noah shouted, Dad, stop! Emily was pulling at my arm, her nails digging into my skin. I released Jason suddenly, sending him gasping to his knees. Just as quickly, my demeanor shifted, voice returning to that practiced calm. See what you've done, Emily? Upset everyone with your drama. This is just like you. Creating chaos and then playing victim. Emily was helping Jason up, her hand shaking. This is exactly why we're leaving. Noah, get your backpack. We packed some of your things already. He's not going anywhere, I insisted, moving to block the stairs. Noah looked up at me, tears streaming down his face. I saw everything, Dad. I recorded it on my phone. What you did to Mom last month. I sent it to Jason when Mom was too scared to call the police. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. My own son, my flesh and blood. You little... I stepped toward him, but Jason intercepted me, recovered now and ready. Touch him, and I swear to God, I'll kill you myself, Jason said, his voice lethal quiet. We stood there, locked in a standoff, when Emily suddenly grabbed Noah's hand. We're leaving. Now. This isn't over, I promised, my voice eerily calm again. Not by a long shot. It is for now, she said, backing toward the door with Noah. The police are on their way. I called them before we arrived. 2-minute response time from Officer Daniels. You remember him, right? The one who took my statement after you broke my wrist? I heard sirens in the distance. Clever girl, finally learning to play the game. Go ahead, I said with a cold smile. Run, hide. But remember what I told you on our wedding night, Emily. Till death do us part. I meant every word. The color drained from her face as she hurried Noah and Jason's boys out the door. Jason lingered for a moment, his eyes never leaving mine. If you come near them, he said quietly, they'll never find your body. I chuckled. Amateur! Threats only work when you have the stomach to follow through. Do you, Jason? Do you have what it takes? The sirens grew louder. Jason backed out, joining Emily by the car. I stood in the doorway, watching them pile into Jason's sedan, my face a mask of controlled rage. As they pulled away, I raised my hand in a mock wave, just as the first police cruiser rounded the corner. Game on. The interview with the police was a masterclass in manipulation. I presented myself as the shocked, devastated husband, blindsided by my wife's affair and her sudden decision to take my son. Officer Daniels, despite his history with Emily, found nothing but a composed, rational man in mild distress. I just want what's best for Noah, I told him, eyes downcast with practiced vulnerability. Emily's been struggling with substance issues for years. I've been trying to protect her reputation, but now that she's exposed our son to her, lifestyle choices, I can't stay silent. Daniels made notes, his expression unreadable. Mr. Taylor, your wife has made some serious allegations. I'm sure she has, I sighed. Emily has a vivid imagination when she's using. The broken wrist, she fell down the stairs during one of her episodes. I begged her to get help. There are hospital records of at least 3 similar incidents in the past 2 years. What I didn't mention was how carefully I'd orchestrated each accident, ensuring there were no witnesses, that Emily was always too sedated or terrified to tell the truth. The beauty of gaslighting is watching your victim doubt their own reality. And the recording your son mentioned, I frowned, the perfect picture of confusion. Recording? I have no idea what that's about. Noah's been having a rough time since Emily started her affair, acting out, making up stories. I've been meaning to get him into therapy. By the time Daniels left, the temporary restraining order remained in effect, but I could see the seeds of doubt I'd planted. It would be enough for now. After closing the door, I went to my study and unlocked the hidden panel behind the bookshelf, revealing my contingency arsenal. Every text, every email, every prescription record meticulously documented. Emily thought she was escaping, but she'd merely graduated from one cage to another, the cage of evidence I'd constructed around her over years. I pulled out my burner phone and dialed a number. "It's me," I said when the line connected. "I need surveillance on the following address." I recited Jason's home location from memory. Full coverage, 24/7, and pull everything you can on Jason Mercer. Employment records, financials, criminal history, the works. "Consider it done," came the clipped response. "Anything else?" I paused, turning to look at the family portrait on my desk. Me, Emily, and Noah, smiling like we were the perfect family. In a way, we had been. Perfect for my purposes. "Yes," I said finally. "I want to know every weakness, every pressure point, every skeleton. Timeline?" "Yesterday," I replied, hanging up. Emily had been right about one thing. I was extremely thorough in my surveillance. What she never realized was how deep it went or how many resources I had at my disposal. The respectable investment advisor persona I'd cultivated was just another mask, concealing networks of contacts in places she couldn't imagine. I poured myself a scotch and settled into my leather chair, scrolling through the photos I'd accumulated of her and Jason over the past 3 months. Their coffee dates, the hotel room, the family counseling sessions she thought I knew nothing about. So predictable, so naive. "You should have stayed, Emily," I murmured to the empty room. "The devil you know is always better than the one you don't." 3 days passed. I maintained appearances, went to work, smiled at colleagues, played the part of the stoic husband weathering a personal storm. Inside, I was calculating, planning, laying groundwork. On the 4th day, I received a call from my attorney. "She's filing for divorce," he informed me, citing domestic abuse, emotional manipulation, and endangerment of a minor. "Expected," I replied coolly. "What's our counter?" "Mark," his voice lowered, "these allegations are serious. The evidence she's presenting, medical records, therapist testimonials, the boy's recording, fabrications and context manipulation." I cut him off. "Show me this supposed recording. I haven't seen it yet." Her attorney is keeping it close until the hearing. "Mark, if there's any truth to—" "Jonathan," I interrupted again, my voice deceptively gentle. "How long have we known each other?" He sighed. 20 years. And in those 20 years, have I ever seemed like the monster she's describing? No, but have I ever given you reason to doubt my character? No. Then trust me now. Emily is unwell. She's been mixing prescription medications with alcohol for years. She's invented these allegations to cover her affair and justify taking my son. I need you in my corner, Jonathan. Completely. The silence stretched for several seconds before he responded. "All right, I'll pursue the substance abuse angle. We'll request a psychological evaluation and drug testing. If she's been using, as you claim, it will undermine her credibility." "Perfect," I said. "And Jonathan? I want Noah back home where he belongs, whatever it takes." After hanging up, I opened my laptop to review the latest surveillance report. Jason and Emily had taken Noah to school together that morning, playing happy family. They'd gone grocery shopping, visited a park, domestic bliss. My phone pinged with a text from my investigator. "Found something. Mercer's financials show large cash withdrawals. Possible gambling problem. Meeting his bookie tonight at the Red Door, 9 p.m. I smiled. The first crack in Jason's armor. That evening, I dressed in nondescript clothing and drove to the Red Door, a seedy bar on the edge of town. I spotted Jason immediately at the bar, hunched over a whiskey, his clean-cut appearance at odds with the dive's usual clientele. I watched as a heavy-set man in a leather jacket slid onto the stool beside him. Money changed hands discreetly, followed by what appeared to be betting slips. The conversation looked tense, Jason's body language screaming desperation. After the bookie left, I waited 10 minutes before approaching, sliding onto the vacated stool. "Rough night?" I asked casually. Jason's head snapped up, recognition and alarm flashing across his face. "What the heck are you doing here?" I signaled the bartender for 2 whiskeys. "Same as you, having a drink." "Bull crap. You're following me." "Paranoid, Jason? That's not a good quality in a man with your financial obligations." The color drained from his face. "You don't know what you're talking about." 40,000 in debt to some very unsavory characters, I said, sliding one whiskey toward him. That's a tough hole to climb out of on a high school coach's salary. Stay away from us, he growled, standing up. The restraining order doesn't say anything about running into you in a public place, I finished for him. Completely coincidental. And Emily isn't here, so what do you want? I took a slow sip of my whiskey. Originally, to destroy you, to take everything from you like you took from me. I set my glass down. But now I'm thinking we might be able to help each other. Suspicion narrowed his eyes. How exactly? Your debt problem disappears. In exchange, you help me get my son back. He laughed incredulously. You're insane. I'm not betraying Emily. I nodded thoughtfully. Noble, stupid, but noble. I pulled out my phone, showing him photos of his boys at school, at soccer practice, at their grandmother's house. Cute kids. It would be a shame if their father suddenly disappeared because he couldn't pay his debts. Or if child services learned about daddy's gambling addiction. The blood drained from his face. You stay away from my boys. Unlike you, I said with deadly calm, I don't involve children in adult matters, unless forced to. I stood up, dropping cash on the bar. You have 48 hours to think about my offer. After that, I can't guarantee what might happen when your bookie realizes you can't pay. I walked out, feeling his eyes burning into my back. In the parking lot, I paused by his car, casually sliding a GPS tracker underneath while pretending to tie my shoe. Amateur security measures like checking for followers would never reveal my methods of surveillance. Back in my car, I made another call. I need leverage on a gambling debt. Jason Mercer owes Tommy Vega $40,000. Vega's crew doesn't play nice, came the response. I'm counting on it, I said. Buy the debt, double it on paper, then call it due. The next morning, I received a text from an unknown number. I'm not turning against Emily, but I'll listen to your offer. Neutral ground, noon, City Park. Predictable. Jason thought a public place would protect him. He didn't understand that nowhere was truly safe. I arrived early, securing a bench with clear sightlines and minimal surveillance cameras. Jason arrived precisely at noon, looking like he hadn't slept. You look terrible, I observed as he sat down beside me. Cut the crap, Mark. What's your deal? I gazed out at the duck pond, watching a mother with two small children throwing breadcrumbs. Tell me, how much does Emily talk about our marriage? He shifted uncomfortably. Enough? And I'm sure I'm the villain in every story. I turned to face him. Did she tell you about her suicide attempt 3 years ago? How she downed a bottle of Valium after Noah's 9th birthday party? Confusion crossed his face. She said you invented that to have her committed. I smiled sadly. Of course she did. Did she mention the prescription bottles I found hidden around the house? The mood swings? The times she couldn't remember entire conversations we'd had? Why are you telling me this? Because you're about to make the same mistake I did, believing you can fix her. I handed him a flash drive. Hospital records, pharmacy logs, therapist notes I managed to obtain. Emily isn't just running from me, Jason. She's running from herself. He stared at the drive without taking it. Even if that's true, it doesn't excuse what you did to her. And what exactly did I do? Besides try to keep our family together while my wife spiraled into addiction and paranoia? I leaned closer. The abuse she describes, self-inflicted injuries during episodes she doesn't remember, the controlling behavior, trying to keep her from buying more pills, from driving under the influence with our son in the car. Jason's certainty wavered visibly. The recording. What recording? This mythical evidence Noah supposedly has? Ask yourself why no one's actually seen it. Because it doesn't exist. Why would Noah lie about something like that? Because Emily convinced him to. She's manipulative when she needs to be, especially with Noah. I stood up. Look, I don't expect you to believe me today, but when she starts showing the same patterns with you, the missing money, the lost time, the erratic behavior, remember this conversation. I left the flash drive on the bench. Your gambling debt has been settled, by the way. Consider it a good faith gesture. His eyes widened. Why would you do that? Because despite what Emily's told you, I'm not a monster. I'm a father who wants his son back. I started walking away, then paused. Oh, and Jason, when it all falls apart, and it will, call me. Noah deserves stability. That night, my surveillance team reported movement at Jason's house. Emily was packing bags into her car while Jason stood in the driveway, arms crossed, clearly agitated, An argument was in progress. I smiled. The seeds of doubt were already sprouting. My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. Dad? Noah's voice was small, tentative. I sat up straight. Noah, are you okay? Mom and Jason are fighting, he whispered. About you. About some medicine Mom's been taking. Where are you, son? In my room at Jason's house. Mom's leaving. She says Jason's just like you. Perfect. Do you want to come home, Noah? A pause. I don't know. Mom says you hurt her. And what do you think? Have you ever seen me hurt your mother? Another longer pause. No, but the recording. What recording, Noah? The one you told the police about? Show it to me. If it exists, if it shows me hurting your mother, I'll plead guilty to everything. I'll walk away. I can't find it anymore. Mom said you must have deleted it remotely or something. I softened my voice. Son, think carefully. Did you actually record anything, or did Mom tell you to say that? His breathing quickened. I don't remember. Everything's so confused. That's how gaslighting works, Noah. It makes you question your own memories. I waited a beat. Do you feel safe right now? I guess. Jason's nice, but what? He has some angry men coming to the house sometimes. They scare me. The bookie's associates. Excellent. Noah, if you ever feel unsafe, you call me, day or night. I'll come get you, no questions asked. Do you understand? Yes, he whispered. I have to go. Mom's coming back inside. After he hung up, I made a call to Child Protective Services, anonymously reporting concerns about Noah's living situation. Volatile adults, possible drug use, suspicious visitors. Just another piece on the chessboard. A week later, my lawyer called with news. The judge had ordered a psychological evaluation for Emily and supervised visitation for me with Noah. The evaluation would be simple to manipulate. I'd already laid groundwork with Emily's new psychiatrist, coincidentally running into him at a medical conference, and sharing my concerns about my wife's mental health history. The first supervised visit with Noah was scheduled at a family services center. I arrived early, bringing his favorite comic books and a basketball. The perfect, caring father. When Noah arrived, he seemed withdrawn, uncertain. The social worker, Miss A.A. Patel, observed from a discreet distance as we settled at a table in the visitation room. How are you holding up, champ? I asked, keeping my voice gentle. He shrugged. Okay, I guess. How's school going? Fine. I leaned forward slightly. Noah, you know you can talk to me about anything. Right? I'm still your dad. He finally met my eyes. Mom says you're sick, that you need help. I nodded sympathetically. I know she believes that. Your mom hasn't been well for a while now, son. Remember all those times she would sleep all day? Or when she would get so angry over little things? Like the time she threw the plates? He asked hesitantly. Exactly. That wasn't normal, was it? He shook his head. I've been trying to protect you from that side of Mom for a long time, maybe too much. I thought if I handled everything, you wouldn't have to worry. I sighed. I should have been more honest with you. Noah fidgeted with the edge of a comic book. Jason and Mom are fighting a lot. I'm sorry to hear that, I said, feigning concern. About what? Money and Mom's pills. Jason found some in her purse and got really mad. He paused. Dad, did you ever hit Mom? I looked directly into his eyes, my expression pained. No, Noah, never. I've raised my voice, I've said things I regret, but I have never, ever hit your mother. I need you to know that. The conviction in my voice seemed to reach him. He nodded slowly. Do you want to come home? I asked. He hesitated. I don't know, everything's so messed up. I understand. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. I just want you to be safe and happy. I offered the basketball. Want to shoot some hoops? They have a court outside. His first genuine smile emerged. Yeah. As we played, Miss Patel watched approvingly, making notes on her clipboard. The perfect father-son bonding moment, carefully staged for maximum impact. Later, as Noah was leaving, he suddenly turned and hugged me tightly. I miss you, Dad. I held him close, looking over his head directly at Miss Patel. I miss you too, son. More than you know. After they left, Miss Patel approached me. That went well, Mr. Taylor. Noah seems very comfortable with you. He's my world, I said simply. The separation has been so hard on him. I worry about the environment he's in now. She tilted her head. Oh? I don't want to speak ill of Emily or her friend, but Noah's mentioned some concerning things, arguing suspicious visitors, and Emily's history with prescription medications. I trailed off. The picture of a concerned father too loyal to fully betray his ex-wife. I see. Miss Patel made another note. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Another seed planted. 2 weeks later, everything accelerated. My investigator sent footage of Emily having what appeared to be a breakdown in a grocery store parking lot, screaming at Jason, throwing his car keys, clearly erratic. A day after that, Child Protective Services conducted a surprise home inspection following anonymous concerns. The pieces were falling into place, but I needed something definitive. Something that would ensure Emily not only lost custody, but was deemed unfit entirely. The opportunity came from an unexpected source. Jason called me. We need to talk, he said, his voice tense. About Emily. We met at a coffee shop across town. Jason looked haggard, defeated. You were right, he admitted without preamble. The mood swings, the missing money, the pills. It's exactly like you said. I kept my expression neutral, concerned. What happened? She disappeared for 2 days. Came back high as a kite, no explanation. When I confronted her, she went ballistic, started throwing things, screaming that I was conspiring with you. He rubbed his face. Noah was there, saw the whole thing. He's terrified. Where is he now? With my sister. I didn't know where else to send him. Jason looked up, his eyes haunted. The things Emily said about you. I'm starting to wonder how much was true and how much was in her head. I sighed deeply. It's a pattern, Jason. The same one I lived with for years. She creates these alternate realities where everyone else is the problem. What do I do? She refuses to get help, says everyone's against her. I hesitated, as if reluctant. There's a facility in Vermont, private, discreet. They specialize in cases like Emily's, addiction combined with possible personality disorders. I almost had her committed there after the suicide attempt. How? He swallowed. How would something like that work? With documented evidence of her behavior and testimony from those close to her, a judge could order an involuntary psychiatric hold. It would give her the help she needs and... I met his eyes. Protect Noah. Jason nodded slowly. What would you need from me? Just the truth, Jason, for Noah's sake. The following week moved like clockwork. Jason documented Emily's episodes, her pill use, her erratic behavior. Combined with my years of meticulous records and Noah's new testimony about her instability, we built an airtight case. The emergency hearing was scheduled for Friday morning. Emily, suspecting nothing, was blindsided when served with papers Thursday night, a petition for involuntary psychiatric commitment and an emergency custody revision. I expected her to run. I was counting on it. My surveillance team reported she left Jason's house at 2 a.m., throwing belongings into her car, clearly intending to flee. Noah was with her. Perfect. I called the police immediately, reporting my son had been taken by his mentally unstable mother who was fleeing a court order. Then I got in my car and activated the tracking app on Noah's phone, the one he thought was just a game app I'd installed years ago. The signal led me to the highway heading north. I pushed my Mercedes to 90, gaining ground rapidly. Within 20 minutes, I spotted her Volvo weaving slightly between lanes. Desperate, reckless Emily, just as I'd calculated. I pulled alongside, seeing Noah's frightened face in the passenger seat. Emily's eyes met mine through the window, widening with panic. She accelerated suddenly, cutting across 2 lanes toward an exit. I followed, keeping pace easily as she took the ramp too fast, her car fishtailing. She recovered, barely, speeding down a county road into increasingly rural territory. Perfect. No witnesses. I called 911 again. My wife has abducted our son and is driving erratically on County Road 27. I'm following at a safe distance. Please, hurry! I fear she's going to crash! Emily's car swerved wildly as she looked back at me, her fear making her careless. The road curved sharply ahead, a curve I knew well from my advanced planning. I accelerated, pulling alongside her again. Noah was crying now, clutching the dashboard. I locked eyes with him for a split second, giving a reassuring nod. Then I swerved toward Emily's car. Not enough to hit it, just enough to startle her. She overcorrected violently, sending her Volvo into a spin. The car careened off the road, rolling once before coming to rest against a tree. I slammed on my brakes, fishtailing to a controlled stop. Then I ran to the wreckage. Phone recording video as I approached, documenting the scene. The hero father rushing to save his son. Noah was conscious, suspended upside down by his seatbelt, crying in terror. Emily was slumped against the airbag, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. I wrenched Noah's door open, unbuckling him carefully and pulling him free. "I've got you, son. You're safe now." He clung to me, sobbing. "Mom, is Mom okay?" "She'll be fine," I said, carrying him away from the car. "Help is coming." I set him down a safe distance away, then returned to Emily's door. She was stirring now, disoriented. I leaned in close, making sure Noah couldn't hear. "You should have stayed, Emily," I whispered. "Now, look what you've done." Her eyes focused on me, sudden clarity and horror dawning. You did this." I smiled, making sure her door was locked from the outside. "No, Emily, you did this." Unstable, drug-addicted mother abducts child, crashes while fleeing court order. It writes itself. "Mark, please," she gasped, the reality of her situation sinking in. "Noah needs me." "Noah needs stability," I corrected her. "Something you've proven incapable of providing." I walked back to Noah as sirens approached in the distance. Wrapping my arms protectively around my son, I whispered, "It's over now. You're coming home." 3 months later, life had settled into a new normal. Emily was committed to the facility in Vermont, diagnosed with bipolar disorder, substance abuse, and borderline personality disorder. The judge had granted me sole custody of Noah, with Emily limited to supervised visitation once her doctors deemed her stable, which, given my network of influence at the facility, would be a very long time. Jason had faded into the background, his testimony about Emily's instability proving crucial in the hearings. His own custody arrangement with his ex-wife had mysteriously become more complicated, keeping him too busy with his own problems to interfere further. Noah was adapting well to being home, his therapist, carefully selected by me, helping him process the trauma of his mother's illness and the accident. The narrative was simple. Emily had been sick for a long time. Dad had tried to protect Noah from the worst of it, and now they were rebuilding together. I stood in the doorway of Noah's room, watching him sleep peacefully, the perfect picture of fatherly devotion. My phone vibrated with a text from the facility's director. Patient continues to insist on conspiracy theories about husband. Increasing medication dosage as discussed. I smiled, pocketing the phone and gently closing Noah's door. In my study, I opened my laptop and began systematically deleting surveillance files, erasing the digital trail of my meticulous destruction of Emily's life. The beautiful irony was that the more she insisted I had orchestrated everything, the more delusional she appeared. I opened the bottom drawer of my desk, removing a small velvet box. Inside was Emily's wedding ring, retrieved from her personal effects at the hospital. I turned it in the light, watching it sparkle. "Till death do us part," I murmured, closing the box with a snap. A father would do anything to protect his family, even if that meant destroying the woman he once loved. After all, some cages are more comfortable than others.